Hello, my gorgeous friends on the internet. Welcome once again. So I believe you enjoyed the previous tutorial. So yeah, we talked about we wanted to start building the UI, but because of that challenge, so we just decided to fix it first. So we are starting building. We are going to start the whole UI building from now. Okay, so basically what we're going to start with is the authentication page, and then from there we can progress to other inner pages, and then we can call the UI development a wrap. Then we can start integrating the logic. Okay, but before I start, I need to set up some basic pages. Okay, so the way I set it up, because you need authentication page, so what I do, I create a folder again under screens. So I call this one authentication. So basically, this authentication can have, assuming we are using login, register, forgot password, reset password, we're going to put all the files inside this authentication. Okay. Then also, I'm going to create another folder, which is going to be, because the bottom nav pages are going to use, this app is going to have bottom navigation. Okay. So I'm going to have, I like separating the bottom nav pages, okay, from others. So it's going to be different. Then from this auth page, I'm going to have, for this authentication page, I'm going to have the auth page, because it's just going to be one page, which is the sign up. It's going to handle sign up and sign in, which is the Google authentication. So in this case, I'm just going to have auth page dot that. Okay. And then secondly, I'm going to create a new file. So this one is going to be the splash screen. Okay. Okay, I like creating it outside every other folder. Then I will create a main.dat. Okay, main activity. So I come from the Android background, so I'd like using main activity.dat. So this one will handle the page that we control the bottom nav. If there's any drawer, it will contain the drawer, and any app bar that wants to be shown globally is also going to control it as well. All right. And then yes, I think that's all. Then the next thing we are going to do now is to modify our main.dat. But before I modify the main.dat, you actually need to, okay, first let me modify the main.dat. So what I do, I'll just remove the whole of this. So we have my app, which is a stateless widget. So I'm just going to remove the whole of this. So we have void main run app. Okay, then I'll call this one a stateless widget. So I believe before now we already know what stateless and stateful widget does. So I'm going to call this one my app. Okay, like so. Then I will have a material app here, which we are going to return. Okay, later on we'll be using multi-provider, but we are not going to add it now, because this project also we are going to use providers for managing the state. Okay, in some parts. So we're going to have a home page here. So I'll call this one the splash page. But for now, this splash page is not yet created. So to create this, what we are going to do is to go to, we are going to go over to the splash screen. So inside the splash screen, I'm going to create a simple, it's going to be a stateful widget. Okay, it's going to be a stateful widget, and I'm just going to return a Flutter logo. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, just to call, first of all, import the material app. Okay, once we do that, I'm going to create a stateful widget. Okay, at least a little bit bigger. Okay, add const here, so to get rid of that. All right, so we are good with the splash page. So we need to go over here now and import it. So I need to import this page. Yep, import it, then do a hot restart. You're going to see our splash screen. Okay, that will be shown. Then from splash screen, I think there's a next page we need to go to, which is actually we are going to go over to the main.dat. Okay, but the way I actually do this, first of all, what I do is to create a router. Okay, so I think in this case now we don't have a router, so I normally create a router. I believe in my previous tutorial you should see that I actually created a router. So what I'll do, in the inside this util class, which is a global function class folder, I'm going to create routers.dat. So this is the way I use my own routers. Okay, so I just pasted this stuff here instead of writing it again. So this one will help us to navigate to the next page. So I'm using Cupertino page route. You can change it to material page route. It's page only. So this one will just kill the previous route and then just navigate it directly. So we are going to use this for the splash screen and when the user is authenticated. So now you can see our splash screen showing here. But for now, it's just static. It's not really doing anything. So what I'm going to do next now is to create. I'm going to go over to the splash screen. Okay, then I'll create a simple future builder that waits for like 3 seconds. So after that 3 seconds, it's going to navigate to the main activity page. But since we don't have a main activity page first, let's start from the auth page. So we're going to modify the auth page first before we move over to the main activity page. So but before I do that, let me first of all create a custom button which we'll be using. So this button is going to be used throughout the application, like a custom button if we want to save, we want to authenticate a user and stuff like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I already have this custom button, so instead of writing it afresh, pardon me, so I'm just going to add, it's going to be under util widgets, so it's going to be custom button dot that. So this is just simple button depending on how you want your button to be like. So it's a custom button that I just created dynamically. So it has a parameter which takes a text, an icon, a function which is on tap. Once you tap on it, you can perform some action, and I actually have the color and the text color as well. So this color is more like the background color. So I return a gesture detector with the on tap as void function, and then we have a padding and a margin. Then I added some radius to it and the borders to style it. Then I added a row widget that has a test. So this test is more like, okay, sign in, sign out, upload picture or stuff like that. Then we have an icon. So if the icon is not available, we just return an empty string. But if it is, then we return the string there. All right. So that's just it, and it has a color of blue. Okay, cool. So going back to the splash page, auth page, I'm going to create the page now. So let me just have a material page route, import this stuff, and then what I'm going to do next is just to create a simple stateless widget. No, we're going to be using a stateful widget for this. Okay, then we can use custom screw view to make it scrollable, and to avoid, or instead of using that, since it's just a normal button, we can just use center widget, okay, alone. So let me say my stateful widgets created. Okay, I don't know why it's not showing, but it should be the custom small letter, sorry. Okay, import it here. So we have the test. The test is going to be continuing with Google, because we are using Google authentication with this. So we just say continue with Google, and then we can have the icon. So in this case, I'm going to use an email icon, but if you, this icon is actually a widget. So if you have a widget, okay, it's an icon actually. So in this case, I can just use my icon. So let me say icons.mail, I think is mail outline. Yep. Then we can give it a color. This is going to be colors.red. Okay, so from here now we have these colors, and continue with Google. So let's see how this page is going to be like. So we are going to navigate, go to the splash screen, and then here we can set a kind of a feature builder that will move every 3 seconds. Okay, 3 seconds is too far. Let's just make it let's just make it 2 seconds. And yep, then we can use our next page only, which is the router I created, and then we can pass in the context, and then pass in the okay, close it this way. All right. Okay, so this is it. 3 seconds it navigates. So let's do a hot restart to see what happens here. And all right, 3 seconds, you can see we have the button continue with Google. So let's just tie this stuff a little bit. Okay, go to the auth page. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to wrap this stuff with okay, let's say a center widget. Okay, let's add it with a padding, because I want to add some padding around it. I don't know, let's see. A padding would do. Okay, yeah, there are some padding, so let's just make it 10 for proper spacing. Then once we do that, now the next thing we are going to do is to add the on tap function, the on tap callback. So this one will be called when we want to, okay, not there. All right, so we can add the on tap callback. So this one is when we want to authenticate the user. We can then tap on it to execute the function, and then we can actually give it a text color. So I will give it a colors.white as the text color, and then the background color. So the background color is going to be colors.blue. Okay, to just make it look good. So let's save it now. You can see our button. Yeah, it's looking good now and better. All right, so this is it for the page, and then once you click on it, I want to navigate to the main activity page. So for this, I'll just create a simple main activity page where we'll be working on the app. how it's going to look inside. Then before that, we can start integrating the logic, okay, to handle sign in, sign out, and stuff like that. So for now, let's just have a stateful widget that takes in main activity page, okay, like so. And this is going to be a scaffold widget, like so, and an app bar. Okay, so once we navigate to this page, I'm just going to call it a wrap. Then we continue from the next video, okay, because I don't want it to be too long. So let's go to the auth page. Once we click on this, I can just call next page. For now, let's just use that, okay. Then page, and we can call main activity page, and then contest, which is going to be the contest, okay. Make sure you import this, and I think it will ask us to make it a constant class. Yep, so we're going to add that cost to avoid that hint. So save it. Okay, once you save it, if you click on it now, it's going to take us to the page, which is this page. All right, so we're going to be working on these pages later in the next video. So for now, let's call it a wrap, okay, like so. So in the next video, we're going to continue by building the UI, the interface for the different pages, and then we can start integrating the other pages as well.